At point at one point, I was selling about 200 assets in 18 markets in four time zones, not in my name, where I leveraged the relationships I built, and basically was a mini outsourcer without having a name.
Man, and then what brought you in? So, I mean, you had a ton of success, especially in the default space, right? Which is where I'm most familiar with you. How did you even get introduced to EXP? How did EXP end up on your radar? And tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about
So
your journey with
so
EXP.
the default space was interesting because I think that was the first evolution that I went from a real estate agent to a business owner. And that was a massive shift. So prior to default, I was pretty successful. I was doing 20, 30 million, which is a very respectable solo practice.
Mhm.
And REO, that drove our price down dramatically. So I had to figure out unit economics and margin and all the words that matter. And I had to learn what loss severity was and unpaid principal balance and performance metrics and being graded on how fast and how well I executed, which really put me in a position. And the journey of life is interesting because I think sometimes in the rearview mirror it looks very sequential, but in the moment it's a cluster F, like it looks like this. And a lot of the people I met during the default translated very well into REO to rental and institutional asset classes. And I saw a shift coming, especially because I was very involved with NAREP. So I was, to quote Hamilton, in the room when it happened, when the CFPB was created, Dodd-Frank, QRM, QM. And I knew that hard money lending was going to become a big thing because basically one of the requirements in Dodd-Frank was you could no longer do asset-based lending if you had an FDIC charter. And I started a hard money lending business in 2012. I remember flying up to New York and pitching Beth O'Brien before Beth O'Brien was well known at Corvest when she was running American Homes, that she should buy short-term debt. And I found an appetite for institutional debt before it existed. And then I scaled that business. I sold debt to Wall Street. I built an LOS system from the ground up because there was no product available in the market. You couldn't call CoreLogic or Fidelity and say, I want an LOS for hard money lending. It just didn't exist. So I built one. And that put me on this path to learning how to build technology, which then became Remine. I built Remine as a need. And I don't know if you guys know that I'm the founder of Remine, and then it went on to scale a technology that became kind of systemic. And depending on the market you're in, if you're in Atlanta, it powers input, public record visualization, all the way to contract to close. I sold both those companies. I moved to South Florida. I was mostly spearfishing when I got a cold call from Glenn Sanford via a personal introduction through a mutual friend, and he convinced me to come join him. So the crazy part of the story is this is my first job. I've never had a job before this.
Dang. Well, congratulations. That's a pretty big job to start things off with. And man, just love everything that you're doing with our growth team and stuff like that. Can you share like what are some of the big goals that you have with EXP in the next couple of years? What are some of the milestones and stuff that we're looking to hit?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I love doing this because one to one or one to many is a great way to actually hear it from the horse's mouth. So, when I first got here, I have a deep respect for the entrepreneur and the entrepreneur journey because I've been one my whole life. So the one thing I didn't want to do was kind of come and force my will on anybody. I wanted to really understand who are we, what have we built, because it's a co-creation process. And so I did a lot of listening when I first got here, and I was trying to figure out who we were from just so I could internalize it, right? And who we were the single largest brokerage in the world. We sold the most homes on the planet of any company ever as a single platform. And I never heard anyone say that. And I was like, hey, that's a really interesting statistic. Um, and I think our story was told by others and we didn't own it. And I think that was part of what Glenn built. Glenn built a hyper entrepreneurial platform that allowed people to build their own dreams, right? So if you look at the predecessors that came before us, a lot of them were top down, kind of like, this is the way. And if you don't do it my way, you're an idiot. And Glenn was like, no, there's a lot of ways, and there's a lot of talented people who can build their own way. And that, I think that was the beauty and the magic of it. And when I got here, I feel like, we had never experienced competition, right? Like there was like 11-year run where there was absolutely zero competition because EXP 1.0, as I like to call it, was purely the model as the value proposition, which was novel as could be, right?
Yeah.
National, corporate, with revenue share off the top, with liquidity through publicly traded um, shares. So not like pretend LLC units, right? Like we've all probably experienced that franchises or independent brokerages. So like it was extremely different. And then this moment in time happened. And again, this is all my analysis after I got here, was COVID,
Sure.
which was this not natural. And what I mean by natural is like most things that evolve in business are, evolution, if you will, right? Like a new product or service or technology gets introduced to the marketplace and some moves faster than others, whether it's the iPhone, high-speed internet, or now, large language models and chat GPT, right? But COVID was like, hey, the government decided that we're going to change how society behaves in a 60-day period. And so what happened at scale is something that I knew would have been an eventuality. And that's a concept I think about a lot. Like what is directionally accurate or an eventuality. And it would have happened over a 10 or 20-year period just because of the speed of technology. But we were forced into this science experiment and we proved a lot of things, whether they would work or wouldn't. Like I was always in the office guy. Remine had two physical spaces in the DC metro area, like 10,000 and 20,000 square feet. We had a physical location in Toronto because I bought a company in Toronto. We had an office in Chicago, and then we had one in Southern California for the engineers because that's what you had to do. And I didn't believe you could run a company virtually until I had to, and then it worked perfectly, right? And it even changed the behavior of the people I interacted with. Like to sign an MLS agreement, I had to physically go in person. It was like a 2-day thing. I had to go to dinner with everybody. I had to show up in person. There's so many things about the ritual of things, and rituals, is a loaded word, but it more like, hey, when you interact or do a transaction of a certain size, and transaction could be a single transaction, a relationship with an asset management company, or a enterprise software deal. Like at a certain monetary responsibility, people expect you to show up in person or take them out to eat or build this amount of acceptable rapport. Um, and that all shifted in society. And we proved at scale that this concept works. And more importantly, we proved it's the future, right? So every new company that is a national real estate brokerage will look more like us than our predecessors. Full stop.
Mm.
Right. So let that sink in. Every new real estate company will look more like us than our predecessors. Franchising technology is franchising systems are old technology. The reason we needed franchising technology is because the internet wasn't fast enough for you guys to be able to listen to me on a Friday morning in 1080p, whether Jeff's in California or the gentleman's in Italy, right? Like that didn't exist 20 years ago. Right? Today, we don't need that anymore. And so understanding that, okay, first of all, it changes the narrative on like the ground floor opportunity. Bullshit. There's no more ground floor. Like every new concept is going to look like this, right? We are Netflix. We are Meta. We are Amazon, meaning we created a category and we're now the category king by market share. And so that's a really interesting place to be where there's plenty of examples where if a category dominant player doesn't stay on their toes and take everything seriously and innovate, you can lose that position. But it's actually much easier to defend from the top if you are fully scaled, have margin, have optimized, which is what you see big dominant incumbents do, right? So um, Snapchat comes out and Meta releases stories. TikTok comes out, Instagram releases reels. So My obsession is EXP 2.0, which is substantially more than the model. Everyone will have the model going forward. Uh, Mine is operational excellence, right? So if you've been here the 3 years, the time I've been here, I think you've seen we pay you faster. We answer your questions faster. We make sure that like the actual experience of being your brokerage is the North Star. Because the one thing you guys have to conceptualize and articulate when people are talking about the company is we are an experiment that's never been done before. Like, think about that. KW International HQ is probably 300 full-time employees. Remax is probably 150 full-time employees. The average agent who is supported by one of those brands maybe has 3 or 4 humans at the franchise level to support them, right? As of last week, when I was getting ready for earnings call, we had 2,496 full-time employees and or contractors that support you guys, right? Like, we've never, no one has ever done that before, right? It's a different model, which then translates into, I think I said this on an earnings call the other day. Someone said, like, what do you think about Keller Williams? And I said, I have nothing in common with Gary. Gary has more in common with Yum Brands that owns Burger King and Taco Bell than he does with me. And again, I'm not being a smartass, just look
Yeah.
cracking over there. Because what business is Gary in? He sells geographic boundaries, a territory, and then he sells you cups, lids, and straws, right? Because he's not in the transaction. And cups, lids, and straws translates into his tech fee, command, bold, fill in the blank. And same with Remax and same with Anywhere, right? The reason I don't charge for fast cap and they charge $795 is because we are in the transaction. If I can get an agent to do 2 more transactions that they wouldn't have done at a $10,000 commission at an 80-20 split, we're going to make more money than they are. So we are fully aligned in making sure that my North Star is actually getting you to sell homes and more of them, right? Like, I'm not in a franchise systems or coaching business. I am in the selling homes business. And so when I look at our model, we are the most aligned you could be, right? I pay you to bring people and together we teach them how to sell more homes. And the more it happens, the more we pay each other and the more we grow, right? It's the franchisee model to me has had a lot of friction. I owned a franchise, right? And the franchisors, by the way, get paid off rev share. Rev share. You pay a franchisor off the top before you pay expenses. And then you're left to pay the bills with whatever is left over, and they don't care whether you make money or not. Right. And that's real estate, that's lending, that's Yum Brands, that's McDonald's. I'm not picking on our competitors. That's the franchising system. And so for me, the obsession that you will continue to see in EXP 2.0 is I want to take an agent from 0 to 1, 1 to 10, 10 to 50, 50 to 250, and only if they want to go there, right? So my description of the company is that we are a platform that allows real estate entrepreneurs to build whatever stage dream they want. And I'm not the one to define that. Like, you could have a solo practice and sell 30 homes a year and work 30 hours a week and make 6 figures. And that is the most you ever want to do. Or you could be, gunning for #1 in the world and probably have to beat 1,100 units this year. And that's okay. Like, I've built an infrastructure that allows you to self-actualize your business dreams. And that's what I obsess with every day. So I believe what we should do is give you guys all the tools to self-serve and support you the best as possible. And I say my North Star is how to create more value than I charge you for it, right? I think my entire thesis, whether I've been an agent, whether I was building software, whether I was doing REO or now the CEO here, I think if you have an asymmetrical amount of cost to value, you're always going to win, right? Like, for what I give you for $16,000 and $85 a month, I want you to be in a place where if a competitor calls you and you just laugh because it's like you don't even get it. Like, it's unreplicatable, the amount of value and systems that come with that. And you'll probably see me obsess over the next couple of years, and you've seen me do it so far, is building stuff that can't be repeated, right? Like, um, I mean, in 2024, did we pay you your commissions faster? Yes,
Yeah.
substantially faster, right? It was a protocol that took us 18 months to build. 66% of our commissions were dispersed through real-time payment, which is a protocol through FDIC. We're the third largest user of it, where we paid, um, within days. And we float about 20 to $30 million of cash at any moment on behalf of agents, meaning we get the settlement statement and a copy of the check, and we had basically advanced the commission, and we go chase the commission down for 24, 48, 72 hours. For all the things that our competitors can go to a website and say copy paste, and we do it too. Like, no, you don't. You can't, right? So this next phase, whether it's in, I don't know if you guys, again, take advantage of all things we built. Like, I'm doing a monthly coaching call with John Cheplack and I for teams doing 20 million or more. We're doing a monthly coaching call for individual producers with Jared James. If you're in the top 250 of individuals or teams, you get invited every 90 days to come hang out with me in some city. And like last week, I brought Rene Rodriguez and Tom Ferry. Right? Like, you need to have the community that's attractive enough to that talent, right? Where those people want to be in the room with you because you've created a community that's unreplicatable. To having the funnel and the systems and processes to do all the things that deliver that level of execution. So I'm always trying to say, how do we disrupt ourselves and add way more value? Like, I want to be disrupting us before a competitor does. And I spend a lot of time thinking about that.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I mean, man, we just keep coming out with more and more and more. And that's what I truly respect, right? Because there was a lot of companies that had the chance to innovate, but they got comfortable, right? And I don't see that happening with you. Just as you're talking about, you continue to disrupt and increase revenue share, revenue share 2.0, revenue share 2.1, right? Like different training, different tools, different resources and stuff, which is really powerful. Now, let me ask you from your perspective. You talk to a lot of top producers, right? You see the numbers for the agents as a whole. What are some of the things that you don't think agents are taking advantage of that are right here at their disposal, right at their fingertips?
Yeah, so I think about the concept a lot. I think most entrepreneurs don't start with the end in mind. And I feel like I've evolved even in my different seasons of business as to how I feel about this concept. I used to hear SMB, small to mid-sized business, or lifestyle business in my 20s, and I was offended by it. If you've read the book by Steve Case, the founder of AOL, and I can't remember the name of the book, but it's like the only one he wrote. He talks about the difference between a small lifestyle business to a growth business. And basically, it's the businesses that have large scale, can break $1 million in revenue and kind of become an investable venture capital play. And until I did that, I didn't realize the beauty of a small to mid-sized lifestyle business, right? I think ego said, I need a massive business that has a big exit and tens of millions of dollars attached to it for me to feel accomplished as an entrepreneur. And by the way, I think that's his sequel, Rise of the Rest. I think there's a one before it.
Okay.
But lifestyle business should optimize for the lifestyle you want, right? So I would ask you a couple of questions. One is, okay, think of your long-term goal, and you can have a strategy that gets you to the long-term goal side by side, meaning like, look, you should buy one or two properties every single year till the game's over and have it on 30-year self-liquidating debt. Like, you guys have access to properties in a disproportionate, unfair way to the rest of the average American consumer. And you should own a lot of the stuff that you sell and practice and preach. But secondly, and I think there's seasons, right? Like, I started in this business super young, like 19 years old. And back then, my advantage was my stamina. I could work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I had no wife or kids. And so I wasn't taking away from anybody by doing that. And what happened in actuality is like once a quarter I got pneumonia because I probably pushed myself too hard and slept for 5 days. And I still went out and acted like a 20-some-year-old. Now I'm extremely happily married and have two amazing kids. And so I just won't do that, right? Like in this season, I have very specific guardrails for my time and what I'm willing to give to you guys in order to perform at the level you see me show up, right? The reason I'm so intense and on it with you guys is because I have a system and a process and a rule set with Glenn where it's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not traveling like that. I'm not like, we're not doing calls at 8 o'clock at night. Because like if I don't get to recharge my battery with what actually I care about, I wouldn't be as intense and authentic with you guys because I would be drained. And if my battery's drained, I can't perform at the highest level. So the small business optimization, it's like, okay, what net income do you want for how many hours of work do you want? That also creates enough excess capital to invest for the long-term strategy. So, and there is the build-up phase until you get to optimization, and then there's kind of like hold it steady. And then again, like you could be in another season where the kids moved out of the house and you have a lot more time on your hands again, and working is fun, right? So, um, start with the end in mind and build backwards. I think too many people do it the other way around.
Beautiful, guys. Like, I don't know if you know the importance, right? But we talk about business building and building our business plans every single year. And that's like implementing that into from theory to reality, right? Like, where do you want to go? And then we create the action items in order on how we actually achieve that at the end of the day. So I thank you for that. What kind of things are rolling out? We got some exciting stuff coming out with EXP. Can we share with everybody before we kind of open up questions, or is there anything specific that you want to share? I mean, we have, almost 100 really productive agents from across the country and stuff here right now. Is there anything specific that you want to make sure that you cover, sir?
That's a great question. Anything that has my name attached to it, please read the email because I think that's the bane of my existence. I feel like I could send an email and say, please fill out this form and I'll send you $1,000 and 6% of you might. Which again is not an EXP thing. It's a human condition thing in like the noisy world we live in. But just be hyper aware. So the one call to action is make sure that you and everyone in your teams are going through FastCap. It is 100% included. It's 6 weeks, high accountability. It includes CSU and just like the high level result set from the cohorts in September is 6.9 appointments to 3.8 signed agreements. And these are mostly new agents, right? So if you run a team, give me your people and I will train them for you and then give them back to you trained. How's that sound?
Guys, do you understand that? Right? Like, literally, like, this is where we just have to filter people and guide them in the right direction. We have the tools, the resources. If we don't use them, they are useless. And the results that FastCap is getting is crazy because I just got to sit down with Leo and actually look at those numbers firsthand when we were in Dallas last week, right? Of what results and stuff are coming through that. But we have to take advantage of it, right? If an agent is not doing enough business, we have to get them involved. Like, it's non-negotiable. And we are doing them a disservice if we're not reaching out and checking on the people that are not producing and stuff right now.
I got to jump. I got another group of folks waiting for me. Always great to see you guys. Good to see you again, Larry, after seeing you in person. Take care.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Leo. Greatly appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, Leo.
Beautiful, guys. Well, like, I know that generally our call goes to about 11 o'clock and stuff like that. I knew that we had very limited time with Leo, who's our CEO and stuff here. But, like, some of the major takeaways there is, like, we have to know what's going on. And I know that it's really challenging sometimes. We get bombarded with emails. We get bombarded with this. Look, you don't have to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. but you should be glancing through. If it applies to you, if it's something that you can use, great, like file that away or take some action on it. If not, delete it, get it out of there. Don't let it clutter up the rest of your inbox and stuff like that. And now you're like, oh, I got 400 emails, right? And then you have this paralysis because you don't even know where to start, right? You do not have to be great. What is the saying, right? Like, you don't have to be great to start, but in order to be great, you have to start, right? Like, you have to take that first step and just take some action and stuff here at this point in time. We do have a few minutes and stuff with anybody. And I mean, a lot of us leaders and stuff on this call, you know, have a lot of information about what's coming down the pipeline, what kind of tools and systems and stuff that we have. I know Leo had to jump off, so we didn't have time for like Q&A or anything like that. But do you guys have questions, comments, concerns, or anything like that, you know, as this group of, man, some of the most productive agents I know can help answer for you guys?
Hey, Larry, can you hear me?
Yes, kind of, Keith. I see you, but it's kind of breaking up a little bit.
I'm
Maybe turn
sorry.
off.
We just lost him.
How's that? Is that better?
That's better. Yeah, keep your camera off. One, you're not
Okay.
that pretty, but two, it helps us
Right.
with the bandwidth.
You're welcome, everybody. One of the things that I would highly suggest for everybody, I'm going to do it, is get the recording of this, break out pieces of it. You got stuff that you can go talk to Keller people right now who feel re-energized because of the investment from CoreLogic into Keller Williams, buying out a bunch of Gary Keller's shares. But when he talks about that model and how it is a franchise model, it's not a real estate model, that was brilliant. I wish I wasn't driving and I could have taken notes, but I'm glad you recorded this. Another thing is, the elephant in the room that nobody talked about is co-sponsorship that's coming down the pipe. We don't have the exact details, but what we do know is that I know a guy in Southern California that wants to come on. We've been friends forever, but I don't have the ability to support him. I know we've got 3 or 4 people on this team, and I can't see who all is on here, but I know Jeff's on here, that could co-sponsor and support that agent for me, and we both get the benefit of profit share from, or revenue share from him. So that's something that's coming out for everybody to pay attention to. If you have any questions about it, shoot me a call. I'll give you all the information I have. Larry's probably got more information from being in Dallas than I have, though. It's going to be huge. And what the marching orders are right now is that in April, we're going to announce it and launch it in May. And if you have somebody like that right now, go ahead and act as if. Put them in the primary sponsor line, the person that's going to be supporting them, and then we'll get the paperwork and clean the mess up after we launch it in May. And it just worked for me. I had a former Keller team leader, MAPS coach with 275 people in her profit share organization, that is a coach and is friends with Don Hobbs, but is better friends with me. And she was torn about who to join with, and now she's going to get both of us. It's going to be an amazing program. I'll shut up now because I know that the audio's got to be horrible with me driving in the wind like this.
No, you're good, man. So yeah. So right now, guys, we have the opportunity to have a qualifying agent and a revenue share agent, right? What Keith is talking about is rev share 3.0 at this point in time, where we'll be allowed to have co-sponsors, where both sides, one person gets the qualifying credit, but there's 2 different lines or groups that can actually start participating in the revenue share. That is key for our group to collaborate more with other individuals and stuff across the country to provide a lot of more resources. But we even see that within our group, right? Where, you know, we have asset management companies that are side by side and people like, which one's best, right? Like, this will solve a lot of those issues so that we can collaborate a heck of a lot more and continue to just add more value. And, you know, Leo said it on there, right? Like, I want to add so much value to others that it's a disservice for them not to be within our group. And we're doing that by helping people produce. right? You have Robert McLaughlin up in Reno that put his first deal under escrow. And then we just, through some of the relationships and stuff in our group, has his first REO assignment up in Reno, Nevada. So Robert, congratulations and stuff on that, bro. It's an exciting start, right? Like, because that's the first link of this. And then we start adding on all of these others and stuff as well. So congratulations on that. But yes,
Hey, Larry.
as that program comes out, right? It's really new right now, but we'll get more details. We'll figure out how we can leverage it, and we'll get some more info. Joseph Limo, what you got, brother?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everyone's super clear. Like, we are the Alliance. We have had this mentality before the co-sponsorship came out. So just for a lot of us, just know we are just almost in an ingrained level, already properly positioned for this. So the way that we approach everything with a collaborative spirit and that, vision of abundance, it's really going to help us to start solidifying growth in a really crazy way. So I want to thank all of our coaches and just, collectively the leadership of this group that's always been hyper collaborative, because EXP was founded on that idea, and they just continue to push the envelope of what it can look like for everyone to actually have one shared vision goal, and then the systems around to support us collaborating together. So yeah, just go out there and get ready to crush. I really appreciate what Keith said. Don't wait for something, like just go out there and start growing now. We'll fix the mess afterwards.
Yes, and what he means by that is we have 90 days when an agent onboards that we can actually add a qualifying agent to co-sponsorship. So as we're in March, right, April, May, June, we have to kind of figure this out and figure out how we can position people as best as possible. So that's what they're referring to there. Eric Bingo, what you got, man?
I just wanted to comment something that Leo had said about, putting, knowing where you're going, like having the end goal in mind. And that's kind of the way I approach this whole structure. Is I never really just, did anything haphazardly. I knew what my goal was before I started the goal, and that's where the battle planning comes into play. And I don't know how many people on this call do a yearly battle plan, but it's only the 1st of March. You're still not too late to do that. Just figure out where you want to end the year, figure out where you want to be in 5 years. And that's a conversation I have right now with a lot of people is, where do you see yourself in a year? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And what's beautiful about this company is that an entrepreneur like me can do well and never sell a property, and people on this group can do $20 million in sales and make a lot of money. So there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat, so to speak. So have that end goal in mind. And if any agent wants to learn more about attraction, and just like, there's so many tools, there's so many things that came out in the last, since I joined, it's crazy. I mean, it's just so many enhancements that we have going on right now. So if you're not sure and you want to learn, just come to our agent attraction call, and Larry and I can fill you in. That's all I want to say.
Beautiful. Yeah. So Eric and I host an agent attraction call from anybody that's interested in growing, running this like a business every Tuesday. It comes out on the weekly newsletter with all of that info. The other thing is, a lot of you guys do business with ADR. A lot of you guys, American Destiny is your largest client. And so what I tell everybody is like, why are you not on the Monday mastermind call with Eric? And why are you not on the Tuesday call? Like, if your largest client was like, hey, I would like to have a lunch with you or see you, like, you would be there. Like, this is no different, right? If you're not there, if you're not leaning into these tools and resources, right, and other people are starting to get, like, that's where I would challenge you to be like, well, did you attend their meetings, right? Do you know what's going on? Do you know the updates that they have? Because on those mastermind calls and stuff, we're talking about the challenges that the asset managers are having from other clients or from other agents. This is where you learn from others so that you don't make those same mistakes and stuff, right? So again, if you're a part of that ADR network, you're getting business from them, or you want more business from them, I think that you need to be on their Monday mastermind call and the Tuesday growth call are the two things that I would say are almost a requirement in my eyes. They're not saying that. I'm saying that if you want to do more business with them, I would be taking advantage of that. Jeff Russell, I saw your hand up, brother. What's going on?
Oh, all I was gonna say is the YouTube link that I put in the chat is my one and only favorite Russ Lagan explaining co-sponsoring in a video that's pretty comprehensible. So click on it now. Don't listen to it now, but click on it now and save it and listen to it later. It's a great video.
Beautiful.
So that's funny because Russ wasn't sure how that went public, Jeff. And now, thank you. And now I know the answer.
No, actually, it was it was on his page. I'm not sure. Yeah, this is the first time I'm sharing it anyway.
Yeah, but he does have 475 views on this particular video at this point in time. So, but yes, he will break down that, and then there will be more information coming down the pipeline and stuff as well. Any other questions, comments, concerns, or anything like that, guys? None? Well, if that's all we got, man, it was, man, I'm so grateful that we got to have Leo on for, 30 minutes and pack as much in as we can. Hopefully you guys got a better idea of who is leading this charge, right? I think that's a really important part. And what I truly respect is like, he's a leader and he leads by example. And that was one of the things, right? Like he's super cautious about his family time, right? He's never going to be traveling 4 weeks out of the month or anything like that because his family's too important. So he's practicing what he preaches. And, Keith was speaking up on here that, Keith is one of his regional growth leaders and stuff. And, he applies that as he's talking to other people and stuff as well, so that they have a life, right? We don't want people to get burnt out. We want people to build a business, to build a future, something that frees up a lot of time and like starts producing whether we go to work or not. So take advantage of this, guys. We have so much momentum and stuff going right now. And what we're trying to do is set up the next 4 to 8 years of business. It's going to ebb, it's going to flow, right? We're going to have months where we get new clients and a big push. That's where you got to continue to do the traditional business, right? That's where you got to continue to be talking to agents every single day, if that's part of your business plan, right? Again, it starts with your end result. You should have a plan on how to get there, and you have to stay consistent even when you get busy. Keep producing your traditional forms of business and stuff as well. That is so important, so that you don't go through these ebbs and flows in your real estate business and stuff as well.
Hey, Larry.
Talk to me, Laura King.
Hey, I just want to jump in. I think you're going to be on that call too, but March 17th, Joseph Limo is going to have Russ Lagan on to discuss that co-sponsoring more in depth on Monday, March 17th. I believe it's at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yes, I do believe that I am on that call. I'm looking right now and it says Larry, Russ, and panel. So I believe that I cleared that with Joseph Limo and stuff, and it is on my calendar and stuff. Joseph, anything you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously Russ is going to be able to bring a lot of the data points around it, but that call is intended for two things. One, to give us some clarity around as much as possible as far as what the details are around co-sponsorship. And then we want a hard pivot to make sure everyone has the fundamentals and the basics to start growing now as a parallel to their production. That's the focus of that call, those two specific items.
Beautiful. I just dropped the link, the time and date and stuff in the chat box there, so everybody can have it. Put it on your calendar if you're interested.
Yeah, that's Monday, right?
Yes, sir. Monday 10 a.m.
Got it.
Pacific time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Jeff,
Anybody
you're part of the panel. There you go.
Ah, great. Thanks. I'll mark it as busy in my calendar.
Anybody else have anything before we part ways for the week?
Hey, Larry, Robert here. I've got a special guest, Joe Peterson with iList. He's going to talk about cash offers and how it helps agents get more listings. So he's my special guest this Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific.
You wanna drop that in there, guys? And I know
certainly
a lot. Some of you guys have worked with iList before, but just like what we're doing with EXP, he continues to innovate. and he was showing me at the Velocity conference some of the updates, and literally within a 30-second like data entry, you could have 7 different offers on any property that's out there. That gives you a lot of leverage when you're talking to FSBOs, expireds, like any sort of competition that you have. They're like, well, man, I already have 7 offers on your property. Can I come and present them to you? Like, it gives you a massive competitive advantage if you use that tool and system. So Robert just posted that, and I would, that is next Wednesday, the 12th. Is that right, Robert?
Correct.
Beautiful.
Hey, Larry, if Jeff is available, Jeff, can you share how you're using cash offers as well in your traditional business?
On Monday?
No,
no.
like what you shared with us on the last meeting,
Oh,
because I thought it was brilliant.
yeah. So, I on my listings, if I've got a listing that's slow, we usually do a lot of things to, like a mail or a email blast to all the agents in the area and whatnot. And usually it prompts an offer. So simultaneously, what I'll do is I'll go out and I'll get a cash offer. And obviously, you have 2 or more offers. What is that to us? A multiple offer.
Multiple counter offer.
Bidding war.
Right. So I put myself into I put myself into a multiple offer situation. That's not disingenuous because I do have 2 offers, right? But it's really helped me in getting the value out of homes that are sometimes slow moving.
Beautiful. Anything else, guys? Well, man, that was a lot of information in a super short period of time. Again, take the things that you're going to use, guys. And if you don't know how to use them, if you want more, we have an abundance of tools, resources, and stuff like that. Like, reach out to us, right? Quick question. How do you get emails from agents in your market?
Was that a Jeff question from that, what I just said? I'm not sure if, I think it probably was.
Can you clarify that, Sergio?
And Kelly, are you still here?
Yeah, how do you get an email list of agents in your marketplace? Let's say you just moved to, a certain marketplace a couple of months ago, and then you're trying to get a list of agents in your market so you can send out blast email.
You just ask sometimes because Eric Bangle and I have multiple lists of like agent databases and stuff like that across the country. So if you just shoot an email over to us, we're happy to, 1, get you the information, but 2, also strategize on how we put that plan together so you can actually use it, right? Because Eric and myself and Jeff and Robert, right? Like, we've tried a lot of different things. And this is where a lot of agents will come and say like, well, can we do this? And I will tell them, you can do whatever you want, right? If you want myself, if you want Eric to be involved, this is the system that we're running. This is the play that we're running because it's worked over and over and over again. Not saying something else doesn't work. We've just tried a lot of different things. This rapport building, adding massive value before we even bring up partnering has had the best success ratio. So that's what we're sticking with. Much better than kind of throw it at the wall and see what sticks, right? Like, we've tried that. I've had some results, but a lot of times those agents come, those agents go just as fast. So I'm looking for retention of agents that want to be here and grow with us for the next 4 to 8 years and set up the rest of their lives in the meantime. So that's my niche of what we're looking for right now. Anything else?
Gavin.
All right. Well, guys, I will give you guys about 10 minutes back in your life. Thank you guys, as always, for making this call successful, like contributing, participating, etc. If you guys need anything at all, please call, text, email me. Let me know. Go out there and crush it this week, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day, guys.
Great job, Larry. Thank you again.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
All right, see you later,
Bye-bye.
guys.